Okay, so welcome back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a HDRI in the background. So I'm looking more for something like space or spacey with stars, etc. So we can put anything in the background, and I do encourage you to experiment with a couple of options here. But what we're going to do is we are going to go to Polyhaven once again. And here we can find many different options. So there's all these categories here. So we're going to go for the night category, and we are going to go for something with the view to the stars like that. So we've got the Milky Way right here. So if I go ahead and click this, I should be able to see that. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this one and download it. Okay, so I'm just going to hit download. Okay, now that we've downloaded the HDRI, we need to load it into the scene. So the way we're going to go about doing that is if we go back to the RedShift layout materials, we have all these lights. So if we go and click dome light, that's there. By default, it just goes white. So what we want to do is we want to add a texture. So we're just going to add the path to the downloaded, I think it was called Roll and Clear Night from Polyhaven. Okay, great. So now I've got the correct HDRI in place. However, now let me go back to the standard view. However, as you can see, the sky's lit a lot. There's a lot of light coming from there, but also at the same time I can see all these rocks. So what I want to do is I want to go into the dome light, and I want to rotate the dome so that all I see in the background are stars. So all I have to do is just grab this wheel, make sure I've got the dome light selected and the rotation is on, and just grab that wheel and move it like that. Maybe look for something a little bit more interesting. Let me see. Let me cancel that. Undo. And let's see if I can find the Milky Way somewhere here. Right there. I think it's right there. Okay, so let me rotate this upwards. There we go. Okay, that's more interesting. There. Now, obviously, it's highly lit in the background. So what I'm going to do is reduce the intensity. It's a lot darker. There we go. And there we have it. Okay, now let's go to the RedShift layout materials view and have a look at how that looks like here in the screen. All right, so that's how it looks like. So I can decrease it a little bit more to give it a bit more of a mysterious feel and look. There we go. Excellent. So I still have the key light happening. So I've got all my lights still around. So they're shining onto the speaker. So what I'm going to do now is adjust my default camera a little bit so that I can view it from different angles. Okay, good. So just got to be careful when I move around. I don't want to hit the landscape. Okay. All right. Okay, so now let me zoom in. Let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. Now if I hit play, it's going to try to render and play at the same time. So that might... Okay, let me decrease the volume a little bit. And here. And I'm just going to pause it and see how that looks like from close in. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm just going to move it around here at the front. Okay, great. All right, now the next thing I need to do is move the actual Sonos speaker. So I wanted to go around in a circle. So now that I've put everything inside one group, I can just move the whole group around in one go. So, but before I do that, let me just experiment very quickly to see how the lights are affecting the Sonos speaker. Let me go to the compo backlight and the fill light aren't really impacting much, but the front light is. So we've got the little lights here at the front, which is quite interesting because it gives you that like dramatic look. So what we can do is we can start the scene with just that and then light it up slowly, using the key light, and then just light it all the way up. So that's one thing what we can do, and maybe even put a sound effect once the light comes in. So you can play with this a lot. So what we can do now is have the intensity as 7.8, and maybe we can switch the intensity on and have it. Let's see if I increase intensity. This is a bit too much. The last time it was 7.8. Let's go to 10. Okay, 10 looks reasonable. So I'm just going to have 10 at that point in time. So at 150 frames, it's going to switch on to in 10. Prior to that, it's going to be 0. We're going to start from 0. And click that. So now let's have a look. It goes up, bang, right? So now you're there. So there's a lot of movement happening. There's things moving around, and as it's moving around, the Sonos speaker becomes visible, and then we just basically continue on with the beats, etc., etc. Now, also, what I want to do is move the Sonos speaker around. So I want it to start at some point behind, and then allow it to move. So first things first, always save incrementally as you go forward. So now that I've got the whole speaker selected, I am going to have it like this and have it turning around. So I'm going to start a little bit more on an angle. So I actually like this camera angle. So I'm going to actually also add a camera right here. Actually, let me move it a little bit more, like so here, okay. And like that, okay. And just have the camera come up slowly, so a very slow pane upwards. So let me find RedShift camera, add a standard camera. I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call this 2-dot motion. Okay, and we're going to start from this angle. I'm going to increase that a little bit. Oh. Okay, in the middle, and let's lock in this. So now we've got all these points here selected. Now we're going to go over to the end, and we're going to move the camera a little bit higher up. Now just modify that, try to get these positions right. It's a bit of a challenge. Okay, and there. Important to select the object so you can pan around it much easier. If you don't have anything selected, CINEMA4D doesn't know what you want to do or achieve, so you need to just keep an eye on that. Okay, here we want to basically come up here. We don't want the edge of the mountain, so we want it to be round about here, maybe upwards as well, maybe out. Now we want to come in nice and close. Okay, and do a bit of a hero shot view with the galaxy at the back, something like this, and just hit record active objects, and let's have a look now. So if we scroll backwards, you can see that the camera movement is now moving. The Sonos speaker is changing positions, and we're there. Now, the Sonos camera changed positions up until there, but it kind of got there pretty quick initially, so we wanted it to be a little bit slower. And the way you're going to do that is simply go to Windows, Coordinate Manager, not Coordinate Manager, sorry, Animation. And here, if you increase this screen, you're going to see the camera motion tree item here, and you're going to have all these positions. So notice how this white line is right there in the middle. We want to move it to the end. So we're just going to grab and highlight that white line, and we are just going to drag it to the end there. So now, if we look at, if we come across here, now we can actually see the camera is still moving until we're here. Okay, so from the beginning, it's right here. So it starts dark, only the LED lights are switched on, and then it lights up. All the objects are turning around, spinning. And notice how it's cut at the top a little bit, but then it comes back into screen. We can fix that as well. Okay, and now click the camera and click the record. See, now it's working. So the coordination between selecting the object, moving the camera, and ensuring the camera is selected, all of that needs to happen in unison. Okay, great. All right, so now let's see how that, we just have to play the music and see how that sounds with sound, and do a bit of a render, a test render, to see how all that looks like. So if I stop and pause at any point in time, I want to be able to see all my particles zipping around. Good. Okay, excellent. So now the only other thing is to bring in some narrative voiceover, and we can do that using 11 Labs, and we can also use ChatGPT to write a little narrative for us, and then just superimpose that in Adobe Premiere Pro and render it out. So that's it, folks. This is essentially the animation. So we've got a couple of things moving. We've got particles moving to sound. We've got the Sonos speaker also moving. We've moved the camera around as well. So we've done that. And essentially that's it. So all we have to do right now is to render it out and see how that looks like.